Our situation was unique in the sense that my wife and I were both 35 at the time. COVID hits. She stops working for 3 months, enjoys retirement for, I guess, 3 months while she's raising our son. Like I said, COVID hits, so we're home, and then all of a sudden, one random day, she has a massive stroke right in front of my son and I. It was a normal day, everything's normal. Massive stroke. She gets to the hospital. Long story short is they unclot it. It clots again 2 days later, and all the doctors are like, what the heck is going on? Why is this 35-year-old young mom, healthy, getting these massive strokes? And it was due to ovarian cancer that was not detected. It's a type of cancer called clear cell carcinoma, and it's known for clotting the blood. I've never heard of this before, and I'm sure a lot of us have never heard of it before either, but that's why it's important to share these stories to get it out there, right? So the ovarian cancer was not detected on a pap smear. It's very hard to detect. Other little things that you probably just wouldn't notice, all the tests and screenings are really, it's tricky, let's just say that. So the way we found out, unfortunately, were these strokes that happened. And it was on the right side of her brain, therefore affecting her whole left side. She couldn't see out of her left eye, couldn't hear out of her left ear, left arm, left leg, left vocal cord, so she couldn't even eat or swallow because that cord just doesn't. So anyway, with that said, the damage that was done to the brain is permanent, therefore making me her permanent caregiver from here on out. Now, with that said, she's come so far, and we've done it together, and age is on her side, and I think one of the things that hopefully when we dive into that really helped us both out was sharing our story on social media, on platforms, and just getting feedback and really knowing that you're not alone in this is probably one of the biggest takeaways from this is it's weird to say, but there's healing in knowing others are going through something as well, which sounds awful to say. Like, I feel bad saying that, but there's some truth to it. And it's good to know you're not alone. So I shared our story on TikTok, and here we are. I mean, a million followers later, and so many amazing stories and people. And we're just so happy that we were able to share our story and hopefully impact others and help others out, more importantly. He's right next to me, so I better not screw up these dates, right? Back when dating apps just like first came out, Match and all that, it was kind of a lot less intimidating back then than it is now from what I hear. But we met on a site called Plenty of Fish. It was just a random message back and forth. We met at Grand Central. We had a great date, and that started that. It took a little over a year for me to say, like, she's the one. This is, I've been waiting for her forever, and I proposed. And we got married in 2010. We worked really hard. Our goal was to get out of the city and move to the suburbs and raise a family. That was the ultimate goal, right? So we were able to do that in 2013, where we moved. We slowly made our way up to the burbs in Westchester. We bought literally a fixer-upper. It should have been torn down, but my father's handy, and Kanlaya and I just had the DIY attitude, right? Like, we could do this and do it. We were so stupid. I mean, it was so much harder than we thought, but we did it, and we got the house in a really good spot, and we started our family. We had our son in 2017.
Nice.
And we were both working for when my son turned 3, and that's when she stopped, and that's when this story started. But that's kind of the rundown of it to lead up to this moment. If you can imagine like a perfect storm of just like, it was very hard to get the help that was needed for this because everything was shut down. Support groups and rehab facility, everything was virtual. And just for me personally, I'm not really a virtual person with these kind of situations and issues. I like the in-person hugging, talking it out. So this was very very difficult because it was just me. I had my brother, I had my parents. My parents are in their 70s, but again, COVID was going around. So I was like, keep your distance, I'll do what I could do. They were a help. They watched my son in the most needed times, where I was just running around like crazy. So long story short is COVID did not make this situation easier. And, but maybe a blessing in a good way. It kind of forced me to have to do learn all this. And maybe that is why Kanlaya has come so far, because I was able to just soak up all this information and apply it to her. There wasn't any other teams because there just was no one around. Everything was shut down. So, so maybe it was good in a way. But fast forward to today, COVID's pretty much over. Everything's somewhat back to normal. And I'm at this point, I'm doing it all myself now. Why not just make this work, the way it is? So Kanlaya was in the hospital for literally 2 months, and it was like a revolving door for me. It's like my second home at the time. I was sleeping there. But with that said, in that 2 month span, I tried to be a sponge and just learn as much as I can, because I knew at some point I'm going to have to apply all this at home. I mean, after looking at the medical benefits and the financial situation, I'm not going to be able to hire the help needed for this. So I just said, I'm going to have to learn all of it. So within that 2 months, I was asking all the questions that I wanted to ask. No question was too dumb. Put it into practice. I would try to use it, and things like things that you wouldn't even think about. Like, how do you change an adult, or how do you clean them? How do you cut their food up for them? And she had a PICC line at the time where it needed to stay clean, and I'm not good with what's the word I'm looking for? Not gore, but I'm very squeamish, you could say. Maintaining, because she had her skull removed, and because the swelling of the brain was pushing on the skull. So skull was off for 8 months. How do you maintain that? How do you maintain that up there? It's incisions. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a doctor. Anyway, I learned everything I can from the nurses, the right bandages, the right equipment. And lastly, you take everything you learned. I attribute it almost to being a parent. Like, you take all these courses to prepare for your kid, and once your kid is born, you throw it all out the window. It's like none of it really. I mean, some of it helped, but you take that information and you make it your own at home, and you apply what you learned and make it work with your home and everything to do with your situation. And it just takes time.
Sure.
So Kanlaya and I even had this conversation before it happened, just like, God forbid something happens to one of us. What's our game plan? What do we do? And we always said, put our child, if we have a child, put them first, and all that. And I always thought to myself, I would never be able to handle a situation like this well. I'm very dependent on her. I was very needy. I relied on her for so much, and I didn't know that I had the capacity to take this on and have this strength, so that because I really thought before I wouldn't be able to handle this or do this, but it opened up like, wow. I'm not saying it's great, but it's like I have the strength to get us through this. I could say that now. In the beginning, well, I wasn't there, but now I could say like, wow, we came out of it. We're in a good spot. Starters, I would tell them it's a very lonely journey. It's be prepared for those, even with COVID over, it's still lonely. I mean, life, if this makes sense, lifelong. It's not like a hip surgery and things are better in 4 months, 5 months. Never going to be back to the way it was. I wish I knew that earlier on. I think I would have been more comfortable with everything and focused more on the things that needed to be done, rather than worrying about we need to get back to the way things work, because it's just not going to happen. But with that said, you will reach a comfortable point, if that makes sense. you will find purpose of what happened. And one last thing I really have to say is organization. Oh my goodness, I wasn't organized at all. You saw my work desk; it was a disaster. So making the switch to home, having to do laundry and dishes and things that were really foreign to me, it was very, very important to stay organized and just make things simpler, less clutter, and that really helped me out. So, well, obviously for me, the most rewarding was, being able to spend some actual quality time with my family, time that I wouldn't have had beforehand, if that makes sense. It definitely made Kanlaya and I's relationship stronger in some ways, in some very important ways. So that is definitely a reward in terms of our relationship and being together. And just being able to have that opportunity to show them actually how much I really do love and care for them. That's kind of rewarding. I get to really show it and show it on social media as well. Few unexpected moments that I didn't think would happen was things like dropping or picking up my son. I would just start tearing up because I felt guilty. I wasn't supposed to experience this, but I am, and you don't really. I feel like I would have missed out on a lot of his singing rehearsals and things like that. Let's see what else. So that was unexpected, right? Like I never thought. Okay, so those moments really are important to have every so often. I get to do that, so that's also speaks to the rewarding thing as well. Also, one unexpected weird thing is meeting people in public who are like, "Hey, you guys are the TikTok couple." That was very unexpected, and I wasn't expecting that, but really amazing to see people in public and they literally just break down crying because they just really see how far my wife Kanlaya has come. They're, oh my God, I saw one of your videos early on, and oh my God, look how you look now. It's really great feeling, and I want to show that to the world. Like, oh my God, all right, the world needs to see like how far she really has come, because I see her every day. But if you watch one of the early videos and fast forward to one of my recent ones, she really has come far away, and it's great to just have people see that up close and personal. I would say it's got to be one of the hardest jobs you'll ever take on, but also very rewarding at the same time. That makes sense. You have to do unheard of things that are foreign and unnatural. Like, what the heck? I never knew. Like, should be happening in an old person's home or something. So you're gonna have to expect those kind of shocks. But like I said, it's rewarding. It is a labor of love, literally, right? And you're just again, you really get to show the opportunity of how much you really love this person. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think about it like that. I just do, like, everything is a win, literally, at this point. Every day is a win. But we just keep going, and there's a word that is used a lot, especially with strokes. It's called plateau, meaning you hit a certain level, and then the progress stops or slows down after a few years. And I always threw that word out. I didn't believe in that. There was no goal set. We just go. The goal, the rewards and goals are actually to be able to watch our son, grow up, or have mommy home, and things like that. Those are wins in progress. It's also, we are celebrating by, she's in a much better spot now. So and I don't have my 9-to-5 anymore. I'm home. So we are trying to go out more. And like, we just went to the botanical gardens the other day. We're just went to the mall shopping. These are all little wins that were like, wow, this is awesome. And we're just going to continue to do that and get out there and not really let anything hold us back. You know, I mean, we're not going on roller coasters, but I don't want to anyway. Back when I first started out, I'm going to say no. But now, now that I'm on TikTok and in the caregiving world, I see a lot of people reaching out for advice. And I'm consulting an app right now that is helping with caregivers and appointments and cleaning things up and just making life easier. So I'm finding that there are a lot of tools coming out now that are helping caregivers out. It's like a lot of eyes were opened to this world after this pandemic. I think I even saw Bradley Cooper talking about he was a caregiver to his dad who had cancer. So it's like I think slowly we're starting to realize this world, and I'm starting to notice a lot of, you know, like I mentioned, an app, more communities. I mean, you have the Shopify community. It's spreading. So I'm very hopeful that there'll be a lot more help out there, and very soon and very quickly. Again, same with the help for caregivers. Same aspect with stroke patients and rehab patients. There's a lot more tools out there to be used. Yeah, to answer your question, what did I learn about the human body? Oh my gosh, what didn't I learn? I mean, I had to learn things that I just didn't even know existed. But one cool aspect that I did learn was the right side of the brain that was damaged. Those neural paths are destroyed, but over time you could create new links, new pathways, and I thought this was amazing. And I thought to myself, well then, wow, like we really can make a lot of progress, even though this part of the brain is dead. Things can still be done. So we've been working a lot on some of the brain aspects of things, and I think it's translated well in terms of getting some movement back. She's able to walk on her own, which is amazing, unassisted. Obviously I got to be close by, just in case. But yeah, the rehab world is quite intense. I didn't realize how much had to do it and how much equipment, and they have to sleep a certain way so the foot doesn't heal a certain way. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? But yeah, there's so much you need to know in that world of physical therapy. So again, this all happened during COVID. I really did not have any support systems at the time. Was definitely on my own for the good bulk of it in the beginning. And then one day, as she was getting chemo, I decided to say, you know what, I'm going to start up a TikTok. I need to talk to people. I need to see if there's anybody out there that is going through anything similar that can help me out. Because I'm a mess right now and everything's closed. There's no therapists or social workers at the hospital. It's all nothing. So I decided to start up the TikTok and reach out and start sharing our journey. And wow, what a support tool it turned out to be. Not necessarily TikTok, but just social media in general. I thought I would get a lot of like, oh my God, why are you posting this? I thought I'd get a lot of backlash for doing what I was doing. But the total opposite. A lot of support, a lot of people sharing their stories as you guys have done as well. And I think we touched upon it earlier. Just it feels good to share your story, share your progress, share your wins, share everything, let everyone know how you're feeling and get feedback. And it's quite a support in this journey, let me say that. And it was great to know that I had people there, even though I don't know them. It's a social media app, at least somebody's there, I hate saying it, but I have to because I'm very transparent. But I am a very selfish person. I love me time. I love just kind of a hermit. I just love doing my own thing. So that was a very tough adjustment. But I will say this. So it was unbearable in the beginning for the first 2 years. It was just like, I almost became numb. I was just a vessel taking care of my son and wife because that's just what needed to be done, right? So I was kind of just, it was almost an out of body thing. Just everything needed to get done. And that's, I guess why I joke with my parents about it. I turned superhuman. It's like the mother lifting the car off the child. Yeah. They get that burst of like, and I did everything I could to get us in a good spot. And then with that said, it's been 3 years and I'm still working on it, but Kanlaya is a little more independent. Ty is growing up now. So I guess my point is I'm figuring out my own system, and I'm sure you have a system as well, right? You know what I mean? So in the beginning, I had to help Kanlaya out with 5 a.m. to use the restroom. Can I use this example? Good. 5 a.m. I have to wake up. Oh my God, I got no sleep, blah, blah. To fast forward to now, she's able to do this on her own. We worked it out. We made sure that everything is safe. And now that's one less thing for me to have to do. I mean, school was a blessing for me. I was like, see you, Ty, you're going to school. I need some time. I mean, luckily he was in kindergarten. It was just like little Zoom, not kindergarten, but I couldn't imagine doing the whole just class and Zoom from that. Oh, I can only imagine. It's as you know, a lot of trial and error around the house. I mean, I'll put a railing up here, a bar up here, and that didn't work. So I'll try over here, and that works. So now, it's just a bunch of trial and error as you go on. Like it took forever to find a pair of sneakers that actually worked for her brace and foot. But we found these Nikes. Nike, if you want to sponsor somebody, I'm just kidding. Found these pair of Nikes that had a zipper on the back that worked so well. But it took us like a year and a half to figure out the shoe. So I would love to share this story and save people time and money trying to figure out what shoe works, but pretty easy, and hopefully it doesn't come off cheesy. But I gotta say, my wife has inspired me just to get back to the mom for our son. So I'll start off by saying this, and all the other parents can attest. When it comes to parenting nowadays, we're all flying blind. I mean, especially with technology and COVID, like these are all uncharted territories. So I'll start off by saying I don't know if everything that I'm doing is right. I'm just doing what I think is right. And when it came to Ty and Kanlaya and her illness, I was very upfront with him. Hopefully that was the right thing to do. I mean, I didn't go into detail what cancer is, but I was very truthful with him in our situation. And I try to tell him all the time about like how far we've come to just, get him in a better mood. He was a big part of her progress as well. So I try to, inspire him as well, to tell him like, you're a big part of the success here. But here's what happened to mommy. Unfortunately, due to this situation, he really had to grow up fast. And I feel like he was robbed of a normal childhood early on because he was introduced to a lot of adult things early. And I tried to shield him as best I could from that. But also staying truthful at the same time. Because he needs to know the severity of the situation, and I think it was the right move. He seems okay now, and we'll see. Like I said, I'm trying to make him a big part of the journey as well, and help him take, hopefully he looks up to me, take care of his mom, and that's just, kind of how I've been treating that situation. Again, we're all new to this, right? We're all
Yeah.
we're all doing our best. Obviously, time and moderation on all technology, but I'm definitely one who embraces it. It's definitely the way the generation is going. So, yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one. So again, time moderation, and luckily I have a really small house, so I know what he's watching at all times. I can hear it. He absolutely loves YouTube and the YouTube personalities, and I see that he's got a little talent towards it, and I don't want to screw him away from it. He's really good at it. So Kanlaya and I are discussing how to go about this tricky situation. But he loves video game. I love video games, but I think it's just the key word is moderation, and it depends on the child as well. Again, I don't know if it's the right parenting advice. It's just how I feel at the moment, I guess. Our dog is Bella. She is a Samoyed. That breed is from Siberia. So they are a sled pulling dog. They look like they weigh 100 pounds because they're just so fluffy and hairy. But underneath all that fur and hair is a little 50-pound dog. It's not that. And back to self-care, I would love to add this as well. I take her for a walk every day, and I find that so helpful just to be outdoors with her in my own head. And sometimes I use that time to do TikTok stuff as well. But great for self-care. Dogs, pets, cats, iguanas, great for self-care. I've always used Shopify at all the companies that I worked with. I know you mentioned Shopify launched in 2006. So by the time I was a full-time graphic designer in the publishing world, I was very familiar with Shopify. I'd always launched sites using that platform. And then even recently to the job that I had before here, I would launch all my sites through Shopify. So I was very familiar with it. So much so that Kanlaya and I actually had a shop before her stroke through Shopify. We would sell indigo tie-dye clothing materials this was like a little side thing that we loved. We would go to events, set up a booth. We loved it. It was great. We were able to take our orders at these booths from Shopify. So everything worked out so wonderful. And then our situation happened, and obviously I wanted to get the story out there, the donation information, and then just some other helpful information to help others out. And it was a no-brainer. We got to use Shopify. I could easily create this so fast and get it out there. So Shopify has been a huge part of our success and story. So I was like, this isn't right. It was never a goal. It was never really something I went after, and maybe that's why it happened. I don't know, but it was just it's like, wow, 1 million people saw our story, and it's an amazing, humbling experience for sure. I think we all know what video I'm gonna say. It's that video. I was just ranting in my car one day, and I was just like, you know what? Let me film it and see, because I'm in a blur. I'm in a fog when I'm just in my car ranting, and I was like, let me just check it out. And I was like, wow, this is very disturbing. Some of these moments. But in my beginning of starting the TikTok, my whole point was to be as transparent as possible. And I showed a lot of like great dancing videos during chemo, and it was very lighthearted, but I was like, at the point, it was probably my worst day. I was like, I need the world to hear me scream. I'm frustrated right now. And I didn't care, I could care less if they made a meme of it, whatever. Just hear my scream, here you go. Because it is a really just crappy, and I have no one to talk to or express how I feel. It just, I don't know what happened. It just, whatever that algorithm did, it just shows a lot of us in society today put a smile on, but inside there's, we're all going through something. And there's a little comfort in knowing, that we're all going through. I couldn't tell you the amount of comments that were like, that's me, like that was me yesterday, that, and it resonated with a lot of people. And I'm starting to realize that it was impactful. And to be quite honest, and I have to agree, because I go through TikTok a lot, it was just a very true, real video. There was, this is what it is. Here you go. Simple and not lonely, in a very lonely situation, and totally. much needed at the time. So one of the things I do is try to encourage people to get their story out there, in hopes to click with others that can help you through the situation, if that makes sense. So the thing I would like to share with other caregivers is, it's an awful situation. It's an awful feeling. When you are thrown into this position, but once you embrace it and you make this situation work, which you will, it takes time. Might not take a month, 3 months, 5 months, 5 years. I mean, Kanlaya and I are going on 3 years. There are a lot of good moments to cherish. There are a lot of moments that you will appreciate and look back and say, wow, those were really tough times, and look how far we've come. And that is quite an amazing experience, especially when you embrace it and just say this, the sooner you could say this happened, okay, now I got to deal with it, and now I got to spearhead this situation, regardless of how crappy it is, because it is crappy, but you will get through it. You will get to a good spot. So hopefully that message resonates and helps others out there.